I stayed all my life, 18 plus years of my life over there. Never imagined how life would be here. I think I'm living the best life I can ever live until university brought me here. Life in Ho and life in Accra and as in Legon is really different. My name is Edem Amable, and I'm currently a student at the University of Ghana studying mathematical science. Currently, my course is being combined with computer science, so usually I see it to be computer science. I come from the Volta region, uh, and its capital, which is Ho. So I stayed all my life, 18 plus years of my life over there. My childhood, my upbringing, my early education, primary, JHS and SHS. I spent it all there, and it was really awesome. And I actually never expected or never imagined how life would be here, because imagine staying at a place for your entire life without moving anywhere. That's how it looks to be for me, that okay, I think I'm living the best life I can ever live, and the joy and everything is there until university brought me here. First, because my sisters attended the same, and then I had an opportunity to visit my sister on campus. I spent about a month with her, and then looking at how the students, the architecture and everything is like, even the campus is really nice. And then when I study over there, uh, what I actually plan on my career, it will really give me a foundation there. It was the best decision I ever made when I was in SHS, and then hopefully I got it after SHS. When I came here, I've realized that the life I lived over there was quite simple, and it was fun, but I think the life over here is better but expensive. Yes, it's better but expensive, because sometimes things you can afford over there is quite expensive over here. And then looking at the number of cars, and then there are a lot of people in Medina. So far, that's where I've gone to as a market, and like it really changed my perspective of looking at how Accra would be when I was in uh, Volta. Actually, when I was in SHS, people tell that, like, people normally say university life is free, there is freedom, there is everything. And I've been wondering whether is it not a school as we all thought it is. So when I came, I was like, really, this is school. We go to class. You don't wear any uniform. You are not under any rule. Like, I mean, you're not under a rule where you're supposed to wake up strictly at this time and go to school, go to class. Nobody forces you. So I was like, how? Like, this is really true. Until I realized one day, I slept off late, and then I woke up very late, realizing I missed one of my lectures. And it really shocked me, because I never imagined me missing lectures because I slept over, just because nobody was there to call me that it's time, wake up, dress and go to school. No, I didn't even set an alarm, which is really bad. I should have set an alarm to wake up early, but I didn't, because normally I sleep early. But that day I didn't sleep early. I slept around 1, and then I woke up 8. Meanwhile, the lectures start at 7:30. So I realized that before I dress, I bath and dress and everything, it's it's over. Like, it will be over. So I didn't go for lectures that morning, which it's really pissed me off. I never imagined. That's why I came to myself and I realized that university life is is totally different from whatever we feel or whatever we thought of when we were in SHS. That even though there is freedom, but I thought maybe it's just something they have been saying. But the freedom is so more than freedom. It's more than freedom because it doesn't care about your Christian life. It doesn't care about how you see others. It doesn't care about how lazy you are. It doesn't care about how you even sleep or do anything like eating or anything. It all depends on you. Nobody makes the decision for you. So that's how I feel. So life in Ho and life in Accra and as in Legon is really different. The buildings, like the architecture. What actually impressed me was the architecture. Mostly when you see movies or news, you don't actually look at the perspective in which you look in the real life. So when I saw these huge buildings like 14, 13-story building, like 15, 20, I was like, it really impressed me about even the highways and everything, the cars, everything. I think everybody is looking like living a pretty good life. Yes, because for you to afford a house or an apartment is expensive, but at least everybody has an apartment. Almost everybody. Yes. So I think even though affording an apartment or a stay or somewhere as like in Ho is quite cheaper than here. Like everybody is trying to make it. Yes, just that a few people like small girls and boys begging and all those stuff. I never imagined because there's nothing like that in Ho. Like you scarcely see that somebody asking you for arms or a coin or something like that. But in Accra, it's a lot, especially Medina. That's where I've been so far. I've seen a lot, like in traffic and everything. Like they'll be like, give me something, let me eat, and all those stuffs. I never imagined. I never imagined. But aside that, the life of the people really impressed me. How they live the good life. I never expected some parts of Accra to be so uh excuse me to say nasty or dirty or some places where you never expect to have a refuse dump or to be a refuse disposal. Even some gutters and bridges, they don't move like stagnant waters and then algae and all those greening and like some places are even stinking and I never thought of it that there will be places in Accra where there will be like abandoned or something like that where uh, refuse is there, like littered, like littering around. Thought there would be something like a third road throughout, but some parts of the market, especially Medina, wasn't third. It was just a rough road, which we had some in Ho, but now there's none again. They've teared all the roads in the markets. So my expectation was something more beautiful than what I've seen in Ho my entire life. Like, I mean, I never imagined or I never expected to see places who are so much dirty and stinking. Like, I never expected that. Being a fresher, in the beginning, I was not on campus. So uh, I stay with my sisters outside campus. So sometimes getting to lectures early morning, like 7:30, is a headache because sometimes you may wake up early, going to the roadside, waiting for a car you will not get at the time you preferred. You might get late, or sometimes you get a car early, but because of traffic, you might not reach late. And all this really made it really like made it difficult for me to even focus on study sometimes. You either miss lectures or you um go to class late. Later on, I was able to come to campus, and then coming to campus, I thought it would be a bit easier Yes, actually, it is because I'm no longer far from uh the lectures, like the lecture halls anymore. I'm on campus, just 200 meters you walk and you go to lectures. And like from the house is 8.4 kilometers. So that one was okay. It was another problem that was solved. Back then in senior high, I used to cram, and then sometimes I can relax and then not focus on like in class, and then a week before the exams, just sit down steady. Like, I mean, just we used to call it more like chill and pour. So I used to do that, and then all the time when I write, I pass like 80, 90. So I was used to it until I got to university. Got to university, and then for the first one I tried, I opened the file, the slides, 1,200. So I realized like 1,200, and then it was 3 days to the exams. How am I going to end this? Meanwhile, I've been going to class, but I wasn't that focused because I knew, okay, I had this trick that, okay, close to exams, I'll finish everything. Nobody told me that this is not good. Nobody was able to tell me. I have not even heard from any of the level 200 or 300 about such, because most, about 90% of university students, they experience that in level 100. So I've never asked anybody. It didn't even come into my mind. I just planned, okay, this one I'll do it. So when it was just 3 days to the exams, and then I opened the slides. I was like, hey, this one, how am I going to end this? So that was where I I know most students, they do this a lot. I opened Gemini and then I uploaded slides there. I was like, it was 1,207 pages, and I was like, please simplify this into 10 pages and extract the 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 needed formulas and everything for me to learn. Chat was able to extract it, but it was something I never expected. And when I tried learning, I end up learning wrong formulas, because when you extracted it, it generates something on its own that I didn't even look at the slides. I was thinking that let me do it in a simpler way. So when after learning, then the second day I tried to solve a past question or something like that. Then I realized all the formulas and everything I've learned using Gemini was something wrong. I was not able to answer the question. I was not able to see because I learned something wrong. Then I had to open the slides like all by itself, one by one, just to look for what is really important to myself. It took me hours, hours, and hours just to find out like this is that, before I was able to solve one question. Most of the times when I dress, I think people are watching me, how I walk, how I dress, like how my appearance is. Even though in real life, like that's a reality, but I found out that nobody cares. Just that it's just as how me too, I'm walking, and then I'm trying to find my way out to make it to a certain place, to do this, to do that. Everybody is also focused on her uh goal in the school. So for me, having that perspective that people are watching you, whatever you do and everything, and your life, like you're not rich, like you're not living a rich life as others. It was really hard for me to change that mindset until I've realized, and upon asking others about how they feel about me, about how they see me, and they tell me that, oh, it's just normal, and because everybody's normal, like that's how they see it. They don't see anything so special, like they don't even see any reason why they should be looking at me, focusing on how I look, how I walk, how I eat and everything. They have their own problems they need to face. They have their own assignments or tasks they need to do. So why would they waste their time trying to look into something that doesn't concern them. I felt several times struggling like to fit in just because sometimes um I don't usually go to the cafeterias. Yeah. So anytime I go there and I see these people, especially night market, where people come and park their cars outside and then they come and buy food and all those stuff. So it's like, so me, I don't even have a bicycle. So how am I going to, like, I just feel like everybody's living a rich lifestyle while me, I'm trying to live a simple one. And like, I feel like my feeling the whole time is like everybody's rich over there. No wonder somebody told me that Legon is a fashion school. People used to say it. But the idea is that even those that are living there, the fashion lifestyle, they have the brains, they have the knowledge, and I also have the brains. But what makes me different from like them is their lifestyle. Most people live it like it really make me even to even approach them and ask about something. I feel when I approach because they are living a more expensive life than I do, they might not mind me. They might see me as somebody who is nothing to or like to even talk with. So yeah. In terms of communication with them, I find it difficult. Honestly, I would say where it has been tough mostly is about the language and communication. I come from Ho and then my native language is Ewe. I don't understand Tree, but the lifestyle of people over here, mostly when they see anybody over here, they feel the person can speak Tree. So even with my colleagues, we normally speak our official language, which is English, and that is the basic language of every ethnic group to speak with each other. So that one is the basic language, but most people thinking about, let's say, boys, they choose to, they prefer to speak their uh, native language. That is the tree in Accra here. And then since I don't understand, imagine you being in a group of five and then you are the only person that doesn't understand tree, and then all the other guys are speaking tree, and you can't even tell them that they should at least speak PG, as in the broken English. Just for that one, fine. But I don't have any say. So most of the times, I try hard. I try my best to explain or understand, like explain some of the words into my own understanding and try to interpret them to myself. But in the end, I'll just be nodding. Then I know all that you said, I don't understand. So I'll just end up leaving. So sometimes it made me struggle like with communication with others mostly. Even when I was at my sister's place, most of the times when I go out to go and buy something, because everybody, even old people, most of them they can't speak English, so is there. So trying to figure out how to say what I'm going to buy is another problem for me. There was this time I went to buy powdered pepper, and then I went to the one in the store, and then I told her I want powdered pepper. She had she doesn't understand what powdered pepper means, so I tried my best to explain uh, this powdered pepper, the red one. And so I got into the store and I was like, that's it. So I showed her where the powdered pepper and she mentioned the name for me. Trieva. Is it Menko? Meko? Meko. So and then I was like, okay. So this is it. So Like sometimes to even talk to people, even in a car, you can enter a car and then even the driver is most drivers they like to communicate with their passengers, but just because I don't speak the language, I mostly not involve myself. Even if the question is directly asked, like I was directly asked the question to answer, I just say, please, I don't understand. And then I know the person can, most of the people, they can't speak English as me. So they just keep quiet as well. So all my stay in Accra, Legon, and then with my sister's place, the only thing I struggled with most is the communication and my language. So I'm trying my best to also learn the tree that at least one day when I'm with my friends, I can also speak at least the simple simple. Right now I'm understanding a bit, but what is the next step is to learn how to also speak because I can understand some but cannot reply. Yes, and then the other thing is that I'm a bit shy to say the wrong thing so that they will correct me. Yes, I'm a bit shy to speak it and so that they will correct me. So that's what I need to work on right now to overcome my biggest struggle. All I need for anyone coming from a different region, let's say you've stayed there your entire life as like me, and then you are moving to a new region like Accra for education, don't leave your good life. Don't leave the guidance, the advice your parents give you, and everything about how to focus or how to live a good life, how to live according to the will of God, how to do God's will, how to follow God, and how to do things concerning the gospel. Don't leave it. Just focus. I know there will be friends there to just uh, either confuse you or deceive you or just they will whisper words to you that you think they are good enough to follow or to abide by. And that is it. And then another thing is about the workload. You don't just come here thinking that you are free. You can go to lectures at your own time, you can study at any time. No, the workload over here in terms of studies is much. The earlier you start, the better. And then when you choose to do it last minute, like what I did, what happened to me, you might end up failing, which is not because uh, it's not because you didn't learn, but you learned like last minute, which sometimes it can even make your brain I don't know. Sometimes your brain can fail you just by not remembering or trying to retrieve the information learned just yesterday, just because it was overloaded. So you do it in a bit so that when it comes to exams, you're able to put it out and do your best, and that is it. Just don't think the freedom is here. Freedom is here, but when you come, you feel that the freedom is not just freedom. It's freedom only when you don't have a mindset of passing. When you want to pass, there's no freedom because that's why they made a study room 24 hours. And then your even if you've paid for your hostel or your room, they made the study room 24 hours. You have no idea. But when you go there, you realize why the study room is 24 hours, and then you still paid for your room to stay there, but the study room is free and then it's still 24 hours. You need to be there anytime you are free from lectures, you need to learn everything, and that's it. That's how you will feel your life is going well in terms of academic than you came from another region to Accra. My journey so far has been stressful and gradually transforming into an easy one in the hard way, expecting an easier life in the next future.